Welcome, everyone. We were just saying on another stormy Tuesday night. It's been quite something, our Tuesdays. We'd like to acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional land of the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, which is represented by the communities of Saugeen First Nation and Chippewas of Nawash Unceded First Nation. We also think of the Métis Nation of Ontario, whose history and people are well represented in Bruce and Cray counties. We have not received regrets from anyone this evening. So for our moment of reflection, as we adapt to back to school routines, I would like to take a moment to welcome all our new and returning Blue Water District School Board students, staff, and families. I also want to acknowledge the tremendous amount of work and effort that has gone into ensuring a safe and smooth return for everyone. It takes a lot of helping hands to carefully plan and implement all our health and safety protocols, coordinate programs, and organize our school and work sites. Thank you to our Blue Water staff in a multiple of roles across our system for supporting a successful startup these past few months, whether directly or indirectly. This would not be possible without the guidance and support of public health and other community partners, and of course, our many Blue Water families. We know how important it is to our students' social and emotional well-being to be able to learn in person with their peers once again. At the same time, staff are working hard to support our remote learning families. While this year's startup may look a bit different, we are encouraged to see a gradual return to some of the activities and traditions of previous school years. For our moment of reflection, please join me as we pause and think about the school year that lies ahead and our collective wishes for a healthy, successful, rewarding, and more normalized educational experience for all those we serve in Blue Water. The first item on our agenda is the declaration of student trustees and senators. I would like to invite Superintendent of Education Cheryl Elliott to lead the declaration of student trustees and senators.
Good evening, everyone. So I have been checking our invitees and noticed that although we had a Senate meeting earlier this evening with great attendance, a few must be having trouble getting into our meeting, so hopefully they'll be able to join us. I'm pleased to welcome this year's Senate. They each have a copy of their declaration that they will read in unison. So if I could ask the student senators to please put on your cameras. And you will all say your declaration in unison, please. You can go ahead. I know, Gabe, you were going to lead, so go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. I, Gabriel Rossiter, do solemnly declare that in response to my appointment as a student representative for Blue Water District School Board, I will truly, faithfully, impartially, and to the best of my ability, execute the office of student senator, and I will endeavor to represent the Blue Water District School Board in the forthright and objective fashion, and will participate to the best of my ability in discussion and debate on all relevant matters. And I make this solemn declaration conscientiously believing it to be true, and knowing that it is on the same force and effective as if it was made under oath.
Thank you very much. We might have to work on our unison in the future. So I would like to take the opportunity and to introduce the senators that are present tonight, if that's possible. Or
please do. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going down the list that I have here present. First of all, we have Gabriel Rossiter. Gabe, is your camera still on? There you are, I can see you. Gabriel represents Owen Sound District Secondary School, and he is also a student trustee. We have Ireland Sawyer. Ireland, sorry, comes to us from Saugeen District Senior School and is an Indigenous trustee as well. We have Jessica Verhees, and Jessica represents Walkerton District Community School. And now I see you there, Mahala. You're not on my list of attendees, but Mahala Brown represents John Diefenbaker. And I'm just hoping I'm not missing anyone else because my participant list doesn't show everyone. Is there any? Oh, I see
Trinity.
Trinity, welcome Trinity. Trinity is also a student trustee representing Grey Highlands. I'm just looking through.
Mackenzie's here.
Oh, excellent. Sorry, Mackenzie, and I really hope I don't mess up your name, but Zevenbergen, representing Bruce Peninsula District School. And I think that's all I have. Am I missing anyone? Thank you. I'm pleased to introduce our Student Senate and our student trustees.
Thank you very much. I would like, on behalf of the trustees, to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. This is a little bit different, obviously, as we meet virtually. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to have a sense of who sits around our board table, in this case, our virtual board table. So I'm going to ask all of the participants around the table to introduce themselves to you. So when I call upon you, if you'd put your camera on and just say who you are, what your role is, and for trustees, what communities you represent, just so our student senate can have a sense of who we are. Perhaps I could start. My name is Jane Thompson. I'm a trustee. I'm the chair of the board, and I represent the Northern Bruce Peninsula. So that would be Bruce Peninsula, St. Edmunds, the schools on the northern part of PSDS. But we'll go next to perhaps Marilyn. Marilyn, could you just introduce yourself?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hi, I'm Marilyn McComb, and I represent the townships of Georgian Bluffs and the township of Chattered. And nice to meet you. And I hope we get to see you in person soon.
And then Jim. Sorry, Jim, we can't hear you.
My name's Jim Dawson. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I represent the township of Southgate and municipality of Grey Highlands. Welcome, everybody.
Next, we'll go to Fran.
Hello, everybody. My name is Fran Morgan, and I represent Meaford and the town of the Blue Mountain.
Tracy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tracy Atkinson, and I represent the municipality of West Grey and the town of Hanover, and I am also the SEAC chair of the board. So welcome, everyone.
Next, we'll go to Jan.
Hi, I'm Jan Johnstone, and I represent the municipality of Kincardine and the township of Huron-Kinloss, and so that includes KDSS and elementary schools like Elgin Market, Ripley, Lucknow, Huron Heights, and KTTPS. So welcome.
Katie.
Hi, my name is Katie Lutz. I am the trustee for Saugeen Shores and Erin Eldersley. So I represent Saugeen District, GC Houston, Northport, Saugeen Central, Paisley, Tara, and Chesley. And I think I got them all. I hope I did. And if I forgot anyone, I apologize.
Super, thank you. Terry.
Hi there, my name's Terry Boyd-Jong, and I'm the trustee for Mildmay, Teeswater, and Walkerton.
And we have one more trustee, Jennifer Miller. I don't believe she's joined us yet. And Jennifer represents Owen Sound. So there are 9 trustees, just so you have a sense of that. And next I'm going to go to our senior team that supports us at our meetings. So I'll start with our Director of Education, Lori.
Hi, everyone. It's just great to have our new Student Senate and trustees with us this evening. Welcome. My name is Lori Wilder, and I'm the Director of Education for this wonderful board of ours. So thanks so much for putting your name forward for the position.
And next, could I go to Lauren?
Good evening, everyone. Hi there. My name is Lauren Penner-Lipset, and I am a Superintendent of Education with responsibility in Learning Services Program. So basically, our department works on curriculum, K-12, along with some other portfolios, and it's very nice to meet you tonight. Thanks so much.
And perhaps this next person you don't need to meet, but we'll go to Cheryl.
Hello, everyone. Yes, you all know me, Superintendent Cheryl Elliott, and you all know my areas of responsibility are Learning Services Student Support, which is special education and mental health. It's great to see you all, and I want to send out a quick apology. Maggie Klender representing PSDS and Sean Bandy representing Saugeen District are also on the call tonight. With the way it sets up on the screen, I can only see 9 people and some of the names aren't appearing. So my apologies to those 2 senators.
Do we need to go back and do their declarations, or were they part of our?
I believe they were on.
Perfect, thank you. Keith.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Keith Lefebvre. I'm Superintendent of Education with responsibilities for student success like OEAP, SHSM, dual credits, and I also have responsibilities for an area of schools that includes the Peninsula, as well as Port Elgin, Southampton, and Meaford and Thornbury. And it's great to meet you. And as Marilyn said, I can't wait to meet you in person. That'll be fantastic. Welcome aboard.
Rob.
Welcome, student trustees and senators. My name is Rob Cummings. I'm the Superintendent of Business Services, also Treasurer of the board. The portfolio is vast, but suffice to say, right now we are focused on a lot of financial statements. So it also includes a lot of planning. Enjoy.
Andrea.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Andrea Tang, and I'm the Superintendent of Education for Human Resources Services. So that is all the things to do with our employees, both our permanent employees and the occasional employees that help us out when someone permanent is away. Nice to meet you all.
I'd also like you to meet Bev.
Good evening, everybody. It's nice to meet you. I'm Bev Sims, the Director's Assistant, Manager of Corporate Services, and Recorder for the Board of Trustees. Welcome.
And at each meeting that you join us, there may be other people who are joining us for that meeting that might be presenting a report. But this is the core group that will be with us for each of our meetings. So it's hard to visualize everyone sitting around the table, but we did want to try and connect faces for you. So welcome to everyone. We look forward to this year together. So we're moving to the approval of the agenda. I'll be looking for a mover and a seconder that the agenda for the regular meeting of the board, September 21st, 2021, be approved as printed. Could I have a mover, please? I see Trustee McComb and Trustee Morgan. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest of any of the topics on our agenda tonight? I see none. That takes us next to the approval of some minutes that we've had 3 meetings to approve the minutes. So the first is the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of June 15th, 2021 be approved as printed. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? I see Trustee Johnstone and Trustee Atkinson. Any errors or omissions? Trustee Morgan? Oh. All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Our next minutes are the minutes of the special regular meeting of the Board of July 6, 2021. Be approved as printed. Could I have a mover, please? Trustee Dawson, a seconder. My plus, I see somebody. I'm sorry, I'm probably missing somebody in my plus, but, and Trustee Morgan. Any errors or omissions? All in favor? Thank you, that's carried. Let me just adjust my screen so I can see some of the others. The next minutes that we have to approve are the minutes of September 7th. I would just like to note that a revision was required on page 2. The motion should have read Bill 172 in place of e-learning. So the motion that we'll be putting on the floor for the approval is that the minutes of the Committee of the Whole Board meeting of September 7th, 2021 be approved as amended. Could I have a mover, please? Trustee Dawson and Trustee McComb. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Is there any business arising from any of the minutes? I see none. So that takes us to our Excellence in Education report, gearing up to secondary summer program. I'll put the motion on the floor and then we'll invite Superintendent of Education Keith Lefebvre to speak to this report. Could I have a mover and a seconder that the Blue Water District School Board receive the Gearing Up to Secondary Summer School Program Report for information? Trustee Atkinson and Trustee McComb. And welcome, Superintendent Lefebvre.
Thank you very much, Chair Thompson, and I'm so pleased to be bringing this Excellence in Education report to you this evening. But I'm going to turn it over very quickly to the one of the original architects of this program, and that's Karen Sprague. She's the Learning Service Administrator who works with me in my department, and she had an idea, and she wanted to make it a reality, and she knew that it would benefit students, and she did all of those things. So I'm going to allow her to introduce our special guests, and please enjoy the presentation that we have for you. Karen Sprague.
All right. I'm very pleased to be here this evening. My name is Karen Sprague, as Keith has already said, and I'm a Learning Services Administrator who works with student success. As a result of specialized funding from the ministry, Blue Water District School Board was mandated with the task of aiding grade 8 students with their transition to secondary school as they enter grade 9. From our planning meeting, the idea arose that we needed to mimic the senior student involvement of Link Crew, but somehow make it work within the framework of summer school with schools closed and in the middle of a pandemic. Lots of challenges. I feel like I'm telling you a narrative that I'm going to leave you with a cliffhanger, because Lisa and Kate are going to take over in just a moment. So this was, how we started our vision, and they're going to tell you how our vision grew legs. I'd like to introduce Kate Gilkinson, who was a summer school co-op teacher for this program, and Lisa Russell, who was the employer of the students and the manager of the program. I had an idea. They were the architects of the idea, so I'm really pleased to have them here with us this evening.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Hi, everyone. Nice to see everyone.
Hello.
I am just going to share my screen momentarily. I will do that, and I will do that. Amazing. Everyone can see all right?
Yep.
Perfect. And I would also like to invite Emma Snyder, who is going to be our guest speaker as a representative of the student leaders we employed this summer, to turn on her camera. We will have her kind of do a little chat and interview at the end, so you can hear firsthand about the experiences that our leaders and our participants had. Welcome, good evening. Lisa and I are both very happy to be presenting tonight. We did kind of pilot a program, as Karen said, that was her brainchild. We gave it legs and hopefully wings that we saw it fly away. And eventually, hopefully, it will go even more and bigger and better in the future. So I am Kate Gilkinson. I was, as Karen introduced me, the co-op teacher for this program.
And I'm Lisa Russell, and I was the employer of the students as well as the facilitator of the program.
Amazing. Emma, did you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. So as Kate Gilkinson said, my name is Emma Snyder, and I'm a grade 11 student from Waukegan District Community School.
Thank you. So just a quick overview of what the purpose of our program was and our mission. So the purpose of our program was basically to introduce a virtualized link crew setting that would inform students about the transition from grade 8 into grade 9, moving into secondary school in the fall of 2021.
And our mission was to educate, encourage, and inspire both the grade 8 students who are transitioning into high school, as well as the leaders that we employed to help facilitate that process.
Amazing.
So our co-op students were grade 11 or 12 student leaders who attended a Blue Water District School Board school. We were lucky enough to have at least one representative from each school who we were able to employ. And those students we gathered and we worked on facilitating a program to help the grade 8 students who are transitioning into high school.
Yeah, and then those participants that we had participating in the program, those were the grade 8 students who were transitioning into secondary. The program, we offered it to all students who were enrolled in grade 9 at a Blue Water secondary school. We ended up contacting in our initial days roughly 1,200 grade 8 students via phone, and then followed up via email as well. And in the long run, we had roughly, again, about a third of those 1,200 students who were interested in participating and joined us in and around and throughout our month-long program. So our meetings, what we did was each day of the week, Monday through Thursday, we ran student-led meetings. Lisa and I, again, we really just facilitated. We helped co-create ideas for session topics, but our co-op students really brought all of the ideas and made them into real life, tangible sessions and information gathering spaces. All of the lessons, as I said, were student led in groups of 3 within our 12 co-op students. We had multiple sessions a day. Normally we would have 4 a day, 3 of those sessions being information based. There are some session topics that I included over at the side, just to give you an idea of some of the ideas that we covered to help those grade 8s transition to grade 9 and ease their stress. We also offered a game session each day. These sessions were implemented in order to foster a sense of community between schools and between students. We did offer school-specific sessions. So the students who were employed as our co-op student leaders, they did provide 2 separate school-specific sessions, one at the beginning of the summer school term and one closer to the end. The session at the beginning, the co-op students would introduce themselves to the students that are transitioning and make them feel more comfortable, give them an idea of the sense of our program, and answer any questions that they may have, A, about the program, but B, about any questions they had about their specific school. The second school-specific session, we were really lucky to have a few administrators. We had multiple student success teachers, different teachers that our co-op students reached out to who really made their transition into high school a positive thing. And those teachers were kind enough to, take some time out of their summer and join us in those meetings, which was very much appreciated. Moving on into our everyday sessions, they were very student-based, and we had offered an introduction survey asking the students who would be participating in our program what they would prefer to learn, and ask questions about things that were causing them anxiety or stress about moving into high school, seeing as we were online for the end of the year and they knew they wouldn't be able to go into an actual school building until the first day. There was a lot of stress and tension about not being able to be in a physical school. So I do believe that overall, our meetings were very much geared towards relaxing their nerves and calming down their kind of maybe spinning thoughts. We also did offer question and answer sessions for both students and parents that wished to join. These were offered at a later time. We were very lucky to be able to have flexible hours within the program. So we offered these question and answer sessions after dinner time around 7 o'clock when we had multiple of our co-op students join both Miss Russell and I to answer any queries that students had about anything that they wanted to ask, as well as parents. And we did have both parties join in multiple meetings, which was nice.
What was really amazing, at least from my perspective, when we're looking at the sessions, a lot of our co-op students brought in genuine experiences that they had with their own transition into high school. So it was very well received by the students, the grade 8 students that were participating. And even if a student didn't join the virtual sessions, we still had our co-op students reach out to all the grade 9s. So if there was something that came up for them, even if they weren't participating in the virtual sessions, they could still have a face or a name in this case to email someone and ask a question or talk about something specific that was worrying them. Another key thing that we did do was we invited some guest speakers to come and join us as well. Most of our guest speakers were tied into our focus on equity and inclusion and the importance of equity and inclusion when it comes to leadership. So Kate and I spent a lot of time with the students, the co-op students, making sure to teach them how to be equitable, how to be an upstander. We looked at topics such as like anti-racism. We looked at gender inclusivity, and just made sure that our students were thinking about, when it comes to leadership, how much of that equity and inclusion is a focus in how they present themselves and how they react to the students as leaders. So because of those topics that Kate and I both thought were extremely important to focus on, we ended up bringing in some guest speakers just to tie into that focus. So one speaker we brought in was Jack.org, which is a mental health organization, and it is a student-led organization. And that organization presented to our co-op students and talked about the importance of understanding mental health, not just for themselves, but also for those people that they are leading or those students that they're engaging in conversations with. And in fact, at the end of that session, we had one of our students who was actually recruited to potentially be a volunteer for that student-led organization, which was really great. We also had Canadian Mental Health Association, the Grey Bruce chapter, come in and do a presentation for both the grade 8 students and the co-op students, again, with a focus on wellness, mental health, how to take care of ourselves, especially during these times. We also had Stephanie Cheerhart, who was our Indigenous education representative at the board, come in to talk about Indigenous education and of course discuss the relevant topics that we've been discussing in our classes and in our board and amongst our friends and family. And so that was a particularly important piece that we brought in. And we also had Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program, OYAP, come in and speak to the grade 8 students transitioning about some of the potential opportunities for them as they move forward into their education and into their pathways for high school. So those were some particularly important pieces that Kate and I really felt were integral in order to make sure that we were providing some education as well as some guidance, and not just for the grade 8 students, but also for our co-op students that were amazing leaders to begin with. But I think at the end of the program, they came out of it with even more leadership tools and strategies in their back pockets. So I don't have access to the presentation. I don't think so. Kate, can you move to the next slide?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, we weren't able to entice any of the grade 8 students that transitioned into grade 9 this fall to join us tonight, or even to do a quick interview via video. But we do have a few things that we kind of pieced together to include just virtually again, but based on emails, exit surveys, and that kind of thing, that really shows some appreciation from the grade 8 students who joined our program.
So I guess I can read you this this piece of feedback that we received. So this was to Kate. I just wanted to say thank you for the entire GUTS program BWDSB has set up. It really has lowered my stress about transitioning to high school, and it has actually made it more exciting. I wanted to say thanks to all the staff and students that made this possible as well. Have a good day. So that was one student who had reached out to us to just say thank you for this program. Just based on the exit surveys and the entrance surveys, we did look at some of the data, and 14% of our students at the beginning of the program reported feeling confident going into high school. And then at the end of the program, when we did our exit survey, 41% of students reported feeling confident. And we believe that this this actually would have been a more significant increase had we been able to meet in person rather than virtually. I think a lot of students were also very apprehensive about COVID. So definitely I feel, and Kate feels, I'm sure as well, that this could have been increased had we had a face-to-face program, if we were able to do that, even if we were able to do portions of it and students were able to actually go to their schools and see for themselves physically what school was going to be like.
For some reason, virtual tours just don't do it for some of the kids.
So there's a quote that I'd also like to share, and this is from an anonymous grade 8 student. I honestly think the GUTS program was fantastic. I was really nervous and stressed out about transitioning into high school, and the program really lowered my stress and has in fact made the prospect even more fun and interesting. I'd like to thank everyone who made this possible, and I'm really looking forward to being a student leader myself in the future. And I thought that was a really awesome quote because it's showing us the full circle, right? Like the student was apprehensive, the program allowed them to feel a little bit more comfortable. And in fact, now they're looking at leadership opportunities themselves, which is actually exactly what we want to do, right? That's the success story of the day. When we look at some of the things that our students said, the co-op students as well, we had similar responses. We had an assignment that we did at the end, a final assignment to reflect on some of the experiences the co-op students had from the beginning to the end of the program. And they were, some of the things that they said, just self-reflection on like that I came in not knowing what to expect, and I came out feeling like such a different person and a person who cared and someone who was more empathetic and someone who wants to help and wants to reach out to students and in the school even after the program and help those students out and help them succeed and give them some positivity in their lives, which I thought was just like amazing. Like the things that they said were so great. And in terms of the grade 8 students, overall, they felt as though they really gained a better understanding of what high school was going to be like, especially during this year and the last 2 years where students they've lost that connection to the brick and mortar building that they've been used to having their whole school lives, right? So I think that it definitely, the feedback we got just on a daily basis from students was just that they felt a little bit more relaxed about the prospect of going somewhere new.
I do have this as a slide, but I think I will stop presenting if that's okay with people, just so you can actually see Emma Snyder's face when she's answering these questions. Emma was truly a stand-up student leader as part of our program. Both Lisa and I had no qualms about her coming to speak tonight. She is fantastic, and I very much look forward to hearing about her in the future. So we hope that she keeps in contact. But I'm just going to ask Emma a few questions, and she is going to give you a little inside info about the Gearing Up to Secondary program. So Emma, could you please tell us about your experience of being a student leader as part of Gearing Up to Secondary?
So during my time as a student leader for the GUTS program, honestly, I experienced so much. It's hard to fit into just a quick little answer here, but I think the key points that I really took away was the amount of teamwork that went on. Like, I just found it so fascinating that a bunch of complete strangers pretty much came together to create something so meaningful to so many people. And the amount of support that we each gave each other was incredible. And I also really learned to look from each other's perspectives. And that was something really neat that I experienced, and what it really means to put yourself in someone else's shoes and really take in what the grade 8s were saying.
Awesome. What did you learn about being a leader?
So the key thing for me, honestly, overall, was that leadership isn't a title or a position, but it's an action of speaking from your own experiences and not telling someone like, hey, listen to me, but saying, hey, I'm going to hold your hand through this. I'm here if you need me, and just listening to your peers.
What skills did you gain while participating in this program?
Honestly, creativity. Like, it was awesome being able to sit there and we were just like chucking ideas at each other and bouncing off of each other, and it was great. I also learned a lot about mindfulness, empathy, and the true importance of authenticity, because being a leader for people that you didn't really know, just sitting there trying to have a conversation with them was difficult at first, but then the students were like, hey, what were your experiences? And just sitting down and being honest about my experiences, I feel really helped me connect with them, and I hope vice versa, help them connect with me a bit more.
It definitely did. From experience, I've seen Emma connect with those students, and she definitely had some magical skills. And the final question, Emma, do you think the skills you have gained from being hired as a student leader for the Gearing Up to Secondary program will help you be successful in the future?
I 100% do. In the future, I have plans to be a veterinarian, which is dealing with people and animals on a daily basis. And this program really showed me what it means to just connect with strangers and to just build relationships off of nothing. And that will 100% help me in the future. And it also gave me reassurance of myself as a leader and gave me the confidence to go out, and if someone struggles, hey, I can help you. And one other thing that really showed me that just sitting, listening, the biggest thing a leader can ever do. Someone.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much, Emma, for joining us tonight. It is a true honor to have been one of your teachers, and I'm glad that the trustees were able to hear your experiences.
Also, thank you guys for inviting me, and thank you for everyone for listening.
At this time, we would like to open up the floor for any questions that anyone might have about the program.
Awesome. That was lovely. It was an excellent presentation. Do trustees have questions or comments? I had one, or a couple, actually. It seems to me that this gives an opportunity for more content to be covered than in the previous models of one day when you're overwhelmed about starting grade 9, and to build more relationships and to absorb more information. How will you measure success, how we move forward with the old model and the new model?
That's a good question. And I think the way that we would measure success would be similar to how we would do it virtually, with anecdotal information that we gather and with data that we gather. So with the virtual session, we did do an intro survey and an exit survey. That's something that we could also do if it were to be in person. Kate, did you have anything else to add there?
Yeah, no, I think as far as those exit survey went, for sure, we got to ask questions to both students and parents because we opened it up to both participants and their parent guardian. So we could hear feedback from them about other topics they may wish to have covered. But like Emma was talking about, we did throw around a lot of ideas and bounce stuff off of each other. I don't think there was one session that overlapped with another. So I think building on our program calendar, we can go back, review all of the recorded sessions because we had the student leaders record all of our sessions. We can review the content, review any questions that may have came up as far as the participants went, and then incorporate those further qualms into our actual future endeavors.
Yeah. And I feel like aside from the feedback as well, like obviously that's very important, but also with the assignments that we did do with our co-op students, that was very key for me, and Kate as well, like just to hear from, like just watching our students grow from the beginning of the program to the end, we could see the success in them, right? Just how they were blossoming and growing into these different leaders than they were to begin with, and just a lot of their reflections and their thoughts, and their willingness to share. I thought that was so amazing that they didn't know these students, but they were so willing to share things that had happened to them, and even like embarrassing situations or like conflicts with friends, like things that they don't always get from their mentors that are adults, right? So having that student to student information and contact with each other, I think that's also speaks to the success when you have students that come away from that with so much more confidence than they had coming in, and the fact that both Kate and I were able to see that. I know that's very anecdotal, but just seeing all of their reflections and assignments and everything, like it was really telling about how the success story played out. And I think it would be similar in person. I think we would still have those touch points.
Thank you. Trustee McComb.
Yeah, there were 8 other students beside Emma that participated as leaders, and I just wondered if you could tell us who they were.
Yeah, there were actually 12 students in total that we hired for the 2-credit co-op, and it actually was paid, which was awesome. The students, and I know Emma Snyder can probably comment on this, they were quite pleased when they got their first paycheck. They were like, I thought that we were just doing this to become, better people and get a couple credits. But anyways, that was very fun. So we had Emma Snyder, as well as Emma Batt. We had, Joshua Andrea. We had Alex Adair, Ezra Rosenbaum. We had Rafa Fada. We had
Brinley
Pennings. We had, oh my goodness, Jade Cormier. I've lost count. Emma, who else have we missed?
I don't know her last name, but it's Sam.
Yes, yeah, Sam Bowler.
Sam Bowles.
I think that's everyone.
Yeah, I think that was almost everyone. And as Lisa said in part of the presentation, we did have representatives from a very large variety of schools, which was very nice.
Oh, great.
Trustee Dawson.
Thanks.
Yeah, through the chair, thank you. It sounds like this program is a big improvement over other years, and being virtual, it's easier in a way because everybody can gather at one place. If I'd like to see the program continue, but if it's in person, I can see some challenges regarding geography. Have you given some thought to that as to how you would handle that?
I would actually think that geographically, so one of the things that we did want to do, and it didn't happen because of rules and guidelines around COVID, but we wanted the students to go into the schools. And so one of the things that we could potentially do is, I would think, and maybe Kate, you can add to this as well, but I think a hybrid model might actually be a potential where there's aspects of the program that are in person and then there's aspects that are still virtual. I actually think we can gain something from both. The virtual, you're right, it gave us the versatility to do things daily and to have rich content, and ensure that the content is being delivered to everyone and people were able to access it. But in terms of the in-person portion, I would see that more as like that that's the place where people meet and have a chance to discuss and chat, and it's more of like a social atmosphere with obviously some education built in as well. And I think that's where we might build in some of the tours of the school, right? And like one of the things the students, the grade 8 students, all asked about was like, where's that, like, where do I go, right? A map of the school, and of course we could provide a map and a virtual tour or whatever for them, but I think having that ability to just go to the school and see it for themselves and walk around, it gives them that confidence. And if we're able to have teachers and other people who would also be present in that situation, I think that would help in having those students gain the confidence that they need. So I guess to answer your question, I would foresee that the program would be a combination so that we could highlight the best parts of the virtual side of it, and then also have pieces that are in person.
Great, thank you.
Do trustees have any other questions or comments? I don't see any. I just wanted to say it reminds me of the university model that my daughter went through when she was joining. She was able to get involved with different groups to learn about the university that she was going to attend. And MICU is being one of those leaders in the university that you choose to go to. It's a nice opportunity to find out more about your groups, but it was really lovely. And to the teachers, I've enjoyed watching your faces because you are obviously so proud of this program, and it looks like it's fed your teaching soul. So congratulations. It was a lovely presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It was moved by Trustee Atkinson and seconded by Trustee McComb that the Blue Water District School Board received the Gearing Up to Secondary Summer School Program Report for information. All in favor? Thank you. That is carried. We have no delegations this evening, which takes us down to reports. There is one recommendation coming forward from the Committee of the Whole board meeting held on September the 7th. I'll be the mover on the motion, and I'll be looking for a seconder. The Blue Water District School Board approves sending the letter Bill 172 to the Minister of Education from the Special Advisory Committee. Could I have a seconder, please? Trustee Atkinson. All in favor? Thank you. That is carried. And I would like to invite Trustee Dawson to speak to our Business Committee of the Whole meeting held on September 7th. But first, I'll be looking for a mover and a seconder that the Blue Water District School Board received the report of the Business Committee of the Whole board meeting held on September 7th, 2021 for information. Could I have a mover, please? Trustee McComb, and seconded by Trustee Dawson. And welcome, Trustee Dawson.
Thank you, Chair Thompson. Now, on Tuesday, September 7th, the Business Committee met as a whole, and there are a number of items on the agenda. They were all items for information, so there was a lot of information that trustees received. We received the report from the Onson District Secondary School Vaccination Clinic that was held during the summer, and the school was open for vaccinations, which were held mainly in the gym area. We also received the COVID-19 Resilience Infrastructure Stream, or CVRIS projects, the report and a photographic presentation of the progress of CVRIS projects in schools across Blue Water District School Board. We also received the 2021 school renewal projects, along with photographs showing the status of school renewal projects that occurred over the summer. We received a report on placement of portables at all schools for the 2021-22 school year. There was also a report on ventilation in schools, talking about how the ventilation in schools has been implemented to reduce the impact of COVID. We received a very interesting and lovely photographic presentation on Georgian Bay Community School, an update on that school, and some trustees had an opportunity to tour the facility last Wednesday. There is an update regarding the Beaver Crest Community School project and also one regarding the Kincardine District Senior School project. Thank you very much. That is my report.
Thank you. Do trustees have any questions for Trustee Dawson? I see none. All in favor of the Blue Water District School Board receiving the Business Committee report? Thank you. That is carried. We had no Committee of the Whole in camera meeting today. Is there any new notice of motion coming forward tonight? I'm not aware of any, but see none. Committee establishments and appointments. We do have representative appointments, so I'll invite Superintendent of Education Cheryl Elliott to speak to this recommendation. But first, I'd like a mover and a seconder that the Blue Water District School Board appoint Joanne Thompson as a member of the Special Education Advisory Committee for the remainder of the 2019-2022 term as nominated by Bruce Gray, Child and Family Services. Trustee McComb, a seconder. Hang on. Trustee Miller. And welcome, Superintendent Elliott.
Okay, good evening again. Trustees are aware that on occasion we have vacancies on committees such as the Special Education Advisory Committee, where we have an appointment from a local organization. Our representative from Bruce Gray Child and Family Services, Alicia Rosenberg, has stepped aside, and Bruce Gray Child and Family Services is recommending the appointment of Joanne Thompson for the remainder of the 2019-2022 term, and we would be pleased to have Joanne join the CEAC committee.
Any questions or comments? I see your hand is up, Trustee Morgan, but I suspect.
It's because I didn't take it down. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So all in favor of Blue Water District School Board appointing Joanne Thompson as a member of the Special Advisory Committee? Thank you. That is carried. So we are down to staff reports. Our first is our Student Senate report. And tonight, I would like to invite Student Trustee Gabriel Rossiter to present the Student Senate report.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Can I just get a thumbs up if everyone can hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair Thompson. I just want to say before I begin, thank you for being such a welcoming group of people. And I'm very, very excited for this year. So let's get started then. So our Senate held our first meeting of the year on September 7th, 2021. We welcomed Summer Kuhnman from the Learning Services Student Support Department to talk to us about mental health resources available to students. She showed us the mental health and well-being page on the Blue Water website where students can view mental health crisis supports such as the Mental Health Crisis Line, Local Crisis Team, and Kids Help Phone. The Senate discussed the importance of mental health resources for students and how we as senators can promote them in order to help our peers who are struggling. We discussed that social media is a great platform for sharing mental health resources. Secondly, as a Senate, we discussed the feedback received from students regarding the availability of menstrual products in washrooms. Everyone was pleased and heard positive feedback from students at their school. A huge thank you to everyone who helped to bring this important program to our school board. Finally, the Senate discussed the calendar for the upcoming year, how our back to school experience has been, and what protocols will be in effect for this year, and when extracurricular activities would resume and with what protocols. We look forward to the new school year, and we are hopeful that we can use our roles as student senators and trustees to make positive change for our peers. Thank you very much, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you very much. What an excellent report. Do trustees have any questions for Gabe? Do you prefer Gabe or Gabriel?
I actually prefer Gabe.
That's good.
Thank you so much.
Any questions for Gabe? I see none. Thank you very much. Oh, I do. Trustee Lutz, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank you, Gabe, for a great report, and we always appreciate hearing student feedback, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future. So thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I see none. Thank you very much. Staff reports, a communications plan update. I'll put the motion on the floor and then we'll invite Director Wilder to introduce the report. Could I have a mover that the Blue Water District School Board receive the communications plan update report for information? I'll look for a mover and a seconder. I see Trustee Miller and Trustee McComb. And welcome, Director Wilder.
Thank you, Chair Thompson. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce this report this evening and in turn to introduce our communications officer, Jamie Pettit. Jamie has been extremely busy this past year and a bit, especially I would say that our communications output has increased tenfold, 50-fold. I don't know, Jamie, you can maybe share, but COVID has given us that opportunity, that's for sure. So I will turn it over to Jamie to bring our communications plan update for the year forward. Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you very much, Director Wilder. And I just want to forewarn, I just had the prompt about bad network, so hopefully everybody can hear me okay. I am going to attempt to share my screen. Just loading up.
We can see it.
Perfect. Okay, well, as Director Wilder mentioned, it certainly has been a very interesting year in terms of our output in the frequency of our communications. In addition to all of our traditional methods that we've grown quite accustomed to over the years, we've delved more deeply into the realm of leveraging the power of social media and other platforms such as School Messenger, Thought Exchange, and of course all of us here on Microsoft Teams. So it certainly has forced us to think in different ways as we communicate with our internal and external audiences. Though through it all, even with some of the changes in technology, especially during these times, I would have to say that our main area of focus has been to support students, staff, and families with timely information that is most important to them, while also really focusing on ensuring that our messaging and content aligns with our goal of building public confidence in our Blue Water schools and local education system. So I'm going to provide just a quick overview of what it is that we do in corporate communications and ways in which we support our trustees, administrators, schools, and the families that we serve. Many of the strategies that I'm going through are ones that we certainly have built and refined over the years, but they also set the direction for our communications planning for the current school year. So, of course, a key area of focus as your communications officer is direct support for our trustees and senior leadership team. So all things that are media related, whether it's corporate media releases, coordinating responses to reporters, media appearances, and of course, behind the scenes, really working with reporters and developing those relationships, not only in terms of answering some of the more politically charged questions, but in terms of promoting our good news stories. So building those media relations is really an ongoing and very important aspect of what we do. I also work to support a wide range of correspondence, as you would all know, with the various advocacy letters on behalf of trustees, parent and staff communications from the director, key messages when it comes to supporting responses for certain issues, and of course a wide variety of corporate publications. You'll be hearing, of course, within the next month or two about trustee newsletters, our director's annual report. All of those items are part of the portfolio. We do a lot behind the scenes to support our schools when it comes to school to home communications, as mentioned earlier, providing letters and templates and messaging for principals to share through School Messenger and the various capabilities that are offered through that platform. Pandemic communications was a very big area of focus this past year, supporting whenever there was a case or a suspected case at a school and working with the administration to ensure that they were getting all of those messages out prior to any items showing up in the media. Also, with the return to in-person learning, of course, crisis communications, we have a very involved procedure around crisis communications when it comes to evacuations and lockdowns and that sort of thing. So there is a whole process behind that, and we do support our principals with messaging for a whole wide range of situations as they occur. On the lighter side of things, of course, my favorite part of the job, promoting the good news stories. So always keeping in touch with schools to ensure that they're keeping us up to date, either through sending us their stories or their social media posts. And of course, with the return to in-person, I'm also planning to once again join our superintendents for some of their visits to their schools. It always provides a really good opportunity for an informal fireside chat, if you will, with our principals, where we talk about ways that we can better support them with their communications. And it provides a great opportunity to profile our schools with a quick photo op and that sort of thing. And in terms of social media, that's also, I'm so happy to see that a lot of our schools have really jumped on the social media bandwagon with various platforms, but we do regularly work with schools that are launching for the first time on social media and help them through some of the guidelines and ways in which they can leverage that experience. As many of you know, we did enhance our corporate website about a year ago. The same for our school websites. I deal primarily with the board site, though there is some support through ICT for our schools. Corporate website, so all of the news stories that are posted, the big graphic image that you see, the rotating banner on the home page, just a couple of examples of some of the linkable banners that we create to drive some traffic to registration and whatnot. I always like to put a plug in for our Blue Water District School Board mobile app, which integrates really nicely with our enhanced website. So this is essentially a one-stop shop where parents and students can basically kind of get the most important info to them. So there's links to our bus cancellations, our social media pages, school listings, and School Messenger. We recently did some updates to the app and are promoting it through our schools. Social media is a category unto itself. So for quite a while, we've been active on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, corporately speaking, and I'm very excited that we have just expanded our presence to include Instagram. So just over a week ago, we launched on Instagram. I think we had 17 followers on Thursday, and today we're over 100. So we're certainly going to be pushing that number along and promoting that. And to give you a little bit of background as to what informed this decision around Instagram. This is actually a snapshot of an informal survey I did of all school boards, public and Catholic, and school authorities across the province. So between the survey I did in 2015 and this year, the growth in Instagram usage among school boards, 56% increase, is certainly more than any of the other platforms. But statistics aside, we also had some really good feedback from students. So definitely the student voice helped to inform this as well. I had a co-op student from JDSS who provided an extensive report through her Instagram experience with her school that I presented to the senior leadership team before the end of the last school year. And really talks about how Instagram narrows the gap. So while we reach a lot of parents, for example, on Facebook, Not as many students are using that platform. Instagram seems to be the go-to place. So this will certainly help in that regard with narrowing that gap. And I did have a chance to meet our brand new Student Senate earlier this evening. I attended their meeting and we talked a little bit about some cross-promotional opportunities and looking to them with some of their ideas for Instagram, since they've been very active on that platform as well. And that being said, I also do want to say that we have more and more parents that also seem to be gravitating towards Instagram, so it certainly does reach a very wide target audience. Just a couple of examples. In recent months, we really have been working on improving our social media graphics and providing better consistency with our graphics. So these are just a couple from the past few months. And I do want to also say that in addition to pushing out information on our social media channels, we actually are using the opportunity to create those two-way conversations. While we don't typically respond to public comment threads, we more or less monitor those. As much as possible, we will try to take conversations offline, and we do receive a lot of inquiries through our Facebook account, and we kind of deal with those privately and direct those requests as needed. Just to quickly touch on branding, marketing, and advertising, we strategically participate in a variety of print, radio, and online campaigns to promote Blue Water and inform about our schools. Here are just a couple of recent examples, and the graphic that you see for the graduation showcase, this was actually in today's Owen Sound Sun-Times. So this is the front page of their graduation showcase, which features our congratulations to our grads at the top of the page. Aside from some of the advertising that we do in our department, we also support other departments. So these are just a couple of ads that were done by our learning services and mental health staff during the closure of schools this past year, and some nice mental health messaging from Director Wilder. So we certainly support some of those campaigns as well. Multi-year strategic plan. With the recent revisions to the plan, we updated our banner images, and actually those banners were brought to Owen Sound District Secondary School over the summer, and were on display during the public health COVID-19 vaccine clinic. So we certainly use those for various public opportunities and events and whatnot. I also wanted to draw your attention to the since we're not at the board office in Chesley, you can't see the big ones that we just put up in the boardroom, but that's our new revised multi-year strategic plan plaque mount poster. And recently I sent the plaque mount posters to all our schools and work sites across the district to display in a visible location. And yes, we are keeping with our usual tradition of not only featuring photos of Blue Water students, so we're not doing I guess what you call you know, photos that are just kind of generic from a generic website. These are all Blue Water students, and as much as possible we try to utilize Blue Water talent in the design process. So the strategic plan poster, you can't really see it on the slideshow, but there is a little credit at the bottom for a Grey Highland Secondary School specialist high skills major student who designed that for us. And lastly, I just wanted to mention partnerships, because our communications aren't done in isolation. We certainly do work with a number of groups regionally, provincially, and even nationally to inform our practices. So the Grey Bruce Communicators Network, which includes communication staff from upper and lower tier municipalities and other local organizations, we participate in that a few times a year. Also, recently we joined the Canadian Association of Communicators in Education. That's a cross-Canada group of communication staff at school boards, which is certainly very helpful in talking about different initiatives and sharing communications and best practices. Of course, OPSPA has a very strong network provincially. And we have to give some credit to Grey Bruce Public Health, since we've done a lot of communicating and working on initiatives with them this past year, and our coterminous board as well. So that's essentially a synopsis of a number of the initiatives that we're currently involved in and working on for this school year. As always, you know, I just want to I should have mentioned this during the social media slide, but I want to thank all the trustees that are active on social media. I do see when you share our posts, so it's very much appreciated. And with that, I am happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Jamie. Do trustees have any questions? Trustee Johnstone.
Jamie, I just have to say how very professional the webpage looks, and also just everything that you do. I can think about when you first started so many years ago, and I was actually just listening to your presentation without actually looking at, you know, the video you were presenting at one point. And I just want to tell you that you sounded very, very professional, that your level of communication and how relaxed you are, and just your delivery has really just awesome. And I just needed to say that to you personally, and thank you so very much. And I'm just so pleased that we hired you.
Trustee Lutz.
Yes, I just wanted to say much the same as what Trustee Johnstone was saying. I just wanted to thank Jamie for the great presentation. I guess I should say communications specialist. I'm blanking on your last name, Jamie. I apologize. Pettit, there we go. Got all the formal titles in. I apologize. But I really want to thank you for the fantastic job you do getting things out on social media and forever making the website easier to navigate. I know I forever struggle with it, so I appreciate everything you do that helps make it easier, and I just want to thank you for all that. Thank you.
You're on mute, Jamie.
I was just saying thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? There was some claps, thumbs up, and applauses going on around virtually in this as I was looking around at trustees. I too want to thank you, and that presentation had a lot of meat to it. You're doing a lot of work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jane, you're muted.
Sorry about that. All when I said the most wisdom. I was saying to Jamie there was a lot of meat in his presentation, and appreciate all the work that he's doing. And I also said that it was moved by Trustee Miller and seconded by Trustee McComb that the Blue Water District School Board received the Communications Plan Update Report for information. All in favor? Thank you, that is carried. Our next report is the Summer School and Summer Learning Report. I'll invite Superintendent of Education Penner Lipset to speak to the report, but first I'll be looking for a mover and a seconder that the Blue Water District School Board received the Summer School and Summer Learning 2021 report for information. Trustee Dawson and Trustee Atkinson, thank you very much. And welcome Superintendent Penner Lipset.
Thanks so much, and nice to see everybody again. I will be turning the report over in just a moment to Learning Services Administrator Wendy Lowers. Wendy helped with the coordination of summer school and our summer learning program behind the scenes. So for us at the board level, we start our planning in the new year. So after Christmas, we start talking about summer programming. We start working on it prior to March break. We launch in the spring. And of course, then we offer our programs in July into August. So that's sort of the timeline to give you some context. Wendy, behind the scenes, has been working on our summer programming all through last New Year and spring. And so I'd like to welcome Wendy this evening to just give you an overview of the programming that we offered in Blue Water this summer. So welcome, Wendy.
Thanks, Lauren. I will just share my screen if that's okay. And let me see if I can find my... Oh, it's doing things a little differently than it's done it in the past. There we go.
Now. Yep.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't have the dulcet tones that Jamie has, but I will carry on with the presentation. And as Lauren said, there's a lot of work that goes into summer school behind the scenes to get us ready for the summer. And so we'll just get started. So this summer, Blue Water District School Board delivered a variety of summer programs for both elementary and secondary students. The three programs that we delivered were a secondary summer school, a grade 7 and 8 math and literacy camp, and a summer learning program for students in grades 1 and 2. We had a couple of grade 3s in there, but it was predominantly grades 1 and 2. All the programs were delivered through a virtual format, and the summer programming supports our strategic priorities by focusing on quality instruction within a safe and caring learning environment. This year, supporting student mental health and well-being was a priority in most of the programs, and as well as easing the transitions, particularly for grade 8 to grade 9, as we heard earlier tonight, and re-engaging students was also another focus that we had this year in summer school. So just some logistics here. The summer school courses that were offered through Blue Water District School Board and the Ontario e-Learning Consortium this year, students had the option of earning a new credit. They could recover a credit or participate in a cooperative education worksite experience. Grade 8 students entering grade 9 this fall had the option to complete what we call a Reach Ahead credit in grade 9 English or mathematics. Secondary summer school students earned a total of 540 credits this summer. 420 of those credits were new credits, 28 were credit recovery, 21 were Reach Ahead new credits, and 75 were cooperative education credits. As part of the Ontario e-Learning Consortium, Blue Water District School Board had the opportunity to join students had the opportunity to join classes offered by other boards, and students from other boards were also able to join Blue Water summer school classes as well. 89 Blue Water District School Board students earned credits offered by other boards, and 247 students from other boards registered in Blue Water courses through the Ontario e-Learning Consortium. 3 students enrolled in the Blue Water District School Board summer school program from other boards, for a total of 250 out-of-board students that were in Blue Water summer school programs. The consortium continues to benefit Blue Water students as they are able to enroll in a variety of courses that are offered beyond what we are able to provide for them, but also external students are able to apply for our courses, and that allows us to carry on with courses that might otherwise have to be canceled due to a lack of enrollment. So it's a very, it works both ways for students from our board and students from other boards as well. So the grade 8, 7, and 8 summer school, also known as Literacy and Math Camp, this year we had 58 grade 7 and 8 students participating in the math and literacy camps in July. Some students elected to attend either math or literacy, while 34 of those students chose to attend both. These camps were intended to enhance students' literacy and numeracy skills, to facilitate a smoother transition to secondary school for some of our grade 8 students, and to re-engage students who might have been disengaged previously. Each summer learning class was staffed with one classroom teacher, a literacy coach, and an academic mentor. So we had a very nice student to teacher ratio. Classes also benefited from activities conducted by a representative from the Center for Addiction and Mental Health, otherwise known as CAMH, and they were able to work with our students as well. New for this year, a communication of learning was completed for each elementary and secondary, each elementary student enrolled in the grades 7 and 8 literacy and numeracy camps, as well as the students that were involved in the summer learning program. And this document was to be shared with parents and with the teachers in the homeschool, just commenting on the students' strengths and some areas for growth. So the summer learning program, you may be familiar with it from previous years, and it looked a little bit different this year. Because it had to, of course, be completely online. Usually a school volunteers to host, and it's a school-based program funded through the Council of Ontario Directors of Education. But with the return to online learning in the spring, what we found was there was a definite lack of interest for our younger students in pursuing further online learning over the summer. As you can appreciate, it takes a big commitment on behalf of parents to support those students as well. We had several schools that were interested in offering a program, but they weren't unable to find enough students to meet that minimum enrollment of 15 students that are required for the program. So because the program was virtual as opposed to located in one building, we were able to open up the registration to all the schools in Bluewater. And from that, we were able to put together 2 programs for 37 students in grades 1 and 2. And they were hosted by teachers from Hanover Heights and Normanby Elementary Schools. Where possible, we tried to keep students from the same schools together in the programs, and we focused on building literacy and numeracy skills, and each of those classes was also staffed with a teacher and a literacy coach and an academic mentor as well. The literacy segment included some phonological awareness activities, phonics, vocabulary, and comprehension. And the numeracy component focused on high impact instructional strategies like open questions, for example, and we focused on patterning and algebra and number. The teachers were provided with some professional learning prior to the end of the school year on the science of reading and on high impact math strategies. And we provided resources to support math and literacy, as well as for a recreational component, which included arts and crafts and some science type activities. A representative from CAMH also worked with each of these classes and was also able to provide feedback on the learning communication, which was nice for parents as well. Parents noticed increased engagement and enjoyment in the activities, and they reported that their children gained more confidence and improved their reading and math skills. Parents indicated that they felt better prepared to support their child in literacy and mathematics, and they also felt that their children had better strategies for dealing with stress as a result of the mental health activities. And a really nice example of this, I know it's hard to see on the slide, but in the slide on the left, it was a drawing that was done at the beginning of the program, and the student said, when school makes me feel nervous, and they noted they had butterflies in their tummy. I don't know if you can see those little butterflies there. And then at the end of the program, that same student has a nice smiley face there and said, school makes me feel happy. So that's a really nice indication of their feelings about the program. I'm not going to talk about this program because Karen and her team did an excellent job bringing you up to speed with the GUTS program, the Gearing Up to Secondary program earlier this evening. But as you can tell from their presentation, it was extremely successful. And the staffing for summer school this year, we had 33 classroom teachers and 4 student success teachers who were employed in the secondary summer school. The student success teachers assisted students with the virtual environment and in accessing some mental health supports. An alternative education teacher and 2 learning resource teachers were also hired to support transitions and to support students with special education needs. And also we recognize the need for mental health as well as technological support. So other staffing included 2 mental health workers, 2 technology support assistants, an after-school skills and development worker, and a coordinator who supported students throughout the summer programs. Bluewater School Board summer programs not only provide quality instruction for a large number of students, but through the format and innovative experiences address all the strategic priorities focused upon in a regular school year. Appreciation is extended to the summer school coordinators. We had 2 this year, Kathy Archer and Nicole Jackson, for providing summer learning opportunities for Blue Water students, and to adult and continuing education summer school and blended learning assistant Lydia Howie, who did a phenomenal job coordinating all of these programs from the office perspective. And already we've been thinking about next year. We've had a meeting to debrief what went well this year and what are some areas for our own growth for next year. We look forward to possibly offering some portions of our summer school in person in the future, but plans will already be in the works as we start thinking about what we're going to be doing for summer of 2022. Mm-hmm. So if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to respond.
Thank you. Trustee Dawson.
Thank you, Chair Thompson. Thank you for this presentation. And I have a similar question to what I asked for during the GUTS presentation. As you plan for next summer, will the e-learning continue through the consortium? And what other adjustments may you have to make?
I think we would like to see the e-learning continue. I think it will be interesting to see if we're able to offer sort of a blended program where we offer some courses through e-learning. For example, some boards are able to offer a course maybe a little bit more specialized, or something that we don't have enough students that would enroll in to be able to offer. So the e-learning gives us that really nice option. The other piece of it is students have become very accustomed now to learning online. So I think students are going to be more interested in taking an e-learning course. But also we know the benefits of in-person learning, and we know that students who struggle or they're trying to do credit recovery, they may benefit from the support of being in person. So we may need to be looking at doing something a little bit more blended for next summer, where we're offering a little bit of both.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I see none. It was moved by Trustee Dawson and seconded by Trustee Atkinson that the Blue Water District School Board receive the Summer School and Summer Learning 2021 report for information. All in favor? Thank you, that's carried. That brings us down to our school update report. I'll be looking for a mover and a seconder that the Blue Water District School Board receive the school update report for information. Trustee Dawson, and a seconder, Trustee McComb. And we'll welcome Superintendent of Education Elliott to start the report for us.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to bring you the school update report this evening. I'll begin the report with an update on student and staff vaccination clinics. As requested by the Ministry of Education, we have supported Bruce Grey Public Health to arrange a clinic in each school that has students in grades 7 to 12. Last week, Public Health held 6 clinics in Blue Water schools and administered 146 vaccinations. Does anyone have any questions about our vaccination clinics?
They're speedy. Any
Just
questions?
A little report from me.
I don't see any questions.
Okay, that is my report, and Superintendent Tang will bring you an update on staff vaccinations.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I want to bring an update about the staff vaccination program. So, as the school
You're a bit quiet, Superintendent Tang.
Okay. I'm going to bring you an update about the staff vaccination program. As the school year has progressed, we've received information almost weekly from the Ministry of Education about the requirements for this program. And it began with a requirement for staff to attest as to their vaccination status. They had the opportunity to attest if they were fully vaccinated, so 2 doses and 14 days after the second dose. If they were not yet fully vaccinated, if they had a medical reason not to be vaccinated, and the requirement there was there be a note from a physician or a nurse practitioner. And we did add the option for people to choose not to disclose their vaccination status, although we did tell them that they would be considered from the ministry perspective in our reporting as unvaccinated or not fully vaccinated, and would have to follow the next steps. That was the first piece. It was not required for the first little while to upload a copy of your vaccination certificate, but that is now required. So just to give you some idea, and this is a rolling number because every time we hire someone, the numbers change, and every time someone fills out a form, the numbers change. So at the moment, our total employees are 2,725 and 2,156 have attested that they're fully vaccinated. So that is 79%. But if we look at those numbers in comparison to the people who have actually completed the attestation, we have a 93% vaccination rate. But we are still missing a significant number of employees, about 400, but 90% of those are occasional staff. And we believe we have some people that have not yet returned to supplying in the schools, and they're not checking their board emails. So we have been very iterative in our attempts to get a hold of people and have had a really good working relationship with our union partners, trying to reach out to people and get all this to happen. So for people who attest that they are not fully vaccinated, there are some follow-up steps. For the first 2 weeks of school, there was an opportunity to have a rapid antigen test, a pan-bio test at local pharmacies. And we issued a letter to anyone in that situation, so they were able to get the test for free. It's normally $40 at the pharmacy. So we are checking on the, that people are having that test twice a week. But we did receive our rapid tests for staff. And last Friday, we couriered those rapid tests out to people that are required to do the rapid testing, because the pharmacy program ends today, actually. So the second test will be one that they have a rapid test kit for. The guidelines around the rapid testing are no more than 48 hours before you're in the school. So probably a Tuesday, Thursday for full-time people, and part-time people, with the exception of someone who's really only teaching 1 day a week and not doing any supply teaching, they could possibly test 1 day a week, but everyone else would have to do the 2 tests per week. When people were having the tests done at the pharmacies, they did receive a certificate from the pharmacy of a negative test. When they do the test at home, that will not be an option anymore. So we have changed our attestation sites so that people will go in and attest that they tested at home and that they either had a negative test or that they had a positive test. And these tests are just for asymptomatic people. If someone gets a positive test, they do have to self-isolate and go for a PCR test at a proper testing site, because these are just a flag, not a diagnosis. In addition, anyone that has not submitted documentation to support a medical exemption from vaccination is required to watch a video, an educational video about the benefits of vaccination produced by the Ministry of Education. And we have now been able to post that video to our attestation site. So people who attest to not being fully vaccinated have access to that and are required to attest that they watch the video. It's about 20 minutes long, prepared by doctors and experts from across the province. So about 90% of the missing attestations are occasional people. We are now working through the 10% that are from our permanent employees who've not yet completed this process, and just working on doing some problem solving with people. The vast majority of emails that I have received around this have been from people trying to be compliant, but struggling sometimes with finding their certificate or downloading it or uploading it, and getting an appointment at the pharmacy. But we may have some people that are struggling to do this, in which case we will be following our own progressive discipline policy in terms of addressing this with people. I spoke so quickly, I think I've got just about everything done. Yes, the policy also covers other people in the schools and bus drivers. So Superintendent Cummings has been working with our bus company providers, and this week we should be receiving the attestation information for all of the bus drivers, and we're also supplying those who are not fully vaccinated with their rapid test kits this week. Also in that capture, we were responsible for providing the rapid test kits for the daycare providers who work in our area, and that is nearly accomplished now as well. So For those who have attested, we should be pretty close to having provided the rapid testing kits if they needed them by the end of this week. So what we did around the visitors at this time is we put an iPad in the office at every school, and every visitor to the school has to go to the iPad and attest as to their vaccination status. We don't have the capacity right now to upload a certificate from an iPad in a school office. That's something we still need to look at because the ministry is asking for vaccination, proof of vaccination for visitors to schools. However, tomorrow is also the day that proof of vaccination will be required in other places, and we are exactly 1 month away from a vaccine passport. So we're waiting for some more guidance from the ministry on how to deal with visitors to the school who attest that they're not fully vaccinated. Visitors are also required to watch the educational video, and we have been able to handle that by having a person enter an email address and emailing them a link so they can watch the video, and then the next time they're in, they can attest that they watched the educational video. And I think that is the end of my presentation. A little bit of statistics. I do want to thank Jamie. The ministry requirements have changed rapidly. We had a couple of reporting dates in September, and that quickly changed to 4 reporting dates. So we have to submit a report every Friday to the ministry, and thereafter once a month on the 1st of the month. And that report that goes to the ministry is also duplicated on our board website under the COVID resources. There's a vaccination attestation summary site where you can see the contents of the report that have been uploaded to the Ministry of Education each week and monthly after that. We have enough kits right now. When someone receives a kit, I was going to show you what they look like, but I think I put it away. It is a small box, and it contains the materials for 25 rapid tests. So for people, that will carry us just about till Christmas with this round of distribution. And we do hope that many people won't need a second kit because they're in the process of getting doubly vaccinated, but there will be those for medical or other reasons that may have to continue this testing throughout the year, and we will have to continue to deliver the rapid test kits in that case. Are there any questions about the plan for staff? It really has been an emergent design project.
Trustees have any questions? I see Director Wilder, and then I'll go to Trustee Lutz.
I think mine is more comment. We were so hopeful that HR would be able to focus on their responsibilities for human resources. And then the ministry came down with this requirement, and HR has been working overtime to ensure that we are in compliance with the ministry expectations. And I would just like to thank Andrea and her staff for getting this off the ground. It's just been immense. I mean, Andrea, you just talking about it was tiring. So you've just been spending hours and hours getting this off the ground for the staff. I mean, COVID alone has brought so much to boards in terms of extra work and things. And I know Cheryl, as our pandemic lead, has been experiencing that, and we've all been experiencing it in different ways. So I just want to acknowledge the work that's being done from all of the senior team and staff in this regard. So thanks, Andrea, too.
Thank you. And I think I would like to acknowledge ICT has been incredibly supportive in helping us find digital ways to do this and helping us preserve confidentiality. It has been particularly challenging trying to minimize the number of people who need access to this information, just to what we need to get it done. But ICT has been incredibly helpful.
Thank you. Trustee Lutz?
Thanks. I just wanted to thank you for the report and everything. And I want to reiterate commending all the hard work everyone's doing, because I know I'm running on a much smaller scale the exact same, or not the exact same, but a similar testing program. If anyone wanted to see what the kits look like, I could run over and grab them for you right now. But they are really neat to use. If you ever get a chance to do a rapid test, it is neat to watch how it reacts. But I just wanted to say, I know how much work goes into the data collection and testing, and running all these programs, and I really want to thank everyone who has a hand in making sure these things happen. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? I don't see any. I just also want to say it's mind-boggling to me when I try to think through what I hear as the expectation and follow through how that would happen on the ground. That's been an immense amount of work to make that what was the ask into the do. So thank you very, very much for all your work.
Thank you.
And next would be Superintendent Lefebvre.
Hi, thank you very much. I'm going to be speaking about sports and extracurricular activities. So we've worked together over the last several weeks with the Blue Water Athletic Association, or the BAA, and the Blue Water Elementary Sports Council, or the BESC, along with public health as well, to develop and refine guidelines for schools to follow to restart inter-school sports. Coaches and principals have been working together to make sure these guidelines are followed. We've had lots of positive feedback so far with regards to our return to sport guidelines, and these guidelines also provide permission to both elementary and secondary schools to restart intramurals. I know I was really happy to see the other day when I was walking through Georgian Bay Community School, all the signs for tryouts and things like that, and we've even received some messages through to the corporate services, just about how happy people are that we've got some things returning to normal, so to speak, and that the sports is very much appreciated. So we're happy to be able to make that happen. Are there any questions about sports or extracurricular activities?
Trustees have any questions? I don't see any. Thank you very much.
So the next topic that I'm going to speak about, oh, and I just lost it on my screen, is commencement. So we have confirmed with all the schools that are conducting fall commencements, they will be using the drive-by model that actually a number of schools obviously used last year, and they've confirmed those plans with public health to ensure the safety of students and staff. And actually, something that should be noted, we've had a lot of positive feedback from families just with regards to the drive-by model, in that they really feel like they had a lot of personalized attention, and they got a real opportunity to be able to experience that moment with their child. They felt it was a little it was almost better than what we've done traditionally. So I don't know whether this is something that we're going to be looking at in the future in terms of keeping in some places, but it certainly has brought up that conversation with people. But just to let you know that our commencements are in a drive-by model, and if there are any questions about commencements, I'd be happy to take those now.
Trustees have any comments or questions? I'm not seeing any. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna tuck one more thing in here, just because we had some really great news that came across my desk earlier today, and that is that our you probably didn't think that I would get through the whole meeting without talking about period products, but we just now received the dispensers at our Rockford maintenance site. And the installation actually started even today in some of our schools. So we anticipate the installation in all of our schools scheduled probably to receive these dispensers within the next couple of weeks. So I just thought I would share that good news with you.
That's excellent news. Thank you.
Okay, and I'm going to be turning this over to Superintendent Cummings now.
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I forgot two important things. Do you mind if I pop back in just a moment about the staff vaccinations?
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. First of all, I did want to let you know that we do have legislative authority for this work. So we have, under the Reopening Ontario, a Flexible Response to COVID-19 Act of 2020, the Chief Medical Officer of Health for Ontario has issued Ontario Regulation 364/20, rules for areas at step 3, and a roadmap exit step. So this is now the legislative authority under which school boards are being directed to collect the vaccination attestations and ask for the rapid testing. So that's very good for us to know. That did arrive. They had to wait a little bit for the end of holidays to get it passed, but it did happen. And I also just wanted to mention that I have been in receipt of some letters from different organizations around the subject of vaccinations, and they have ranged from very official looking to less official looking, but they have contained a lot of references to other pieces of legislation like the Nuremberg Code and the Hippocratic Oath and the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms and things like that. And these correspondence is coming from people with concerns about the effectiveness of the vaccination or the idea that a vaccination could be required. And I do want to point out that the current system does not require people to be vaccinated. It simply says if you're not vaccinated, you do have to do the asymptomatic rapid testing. But I think we know this from our conversations in our personal circles, that there are a few people very upset about the response to COVID-19 and the rapid development of a vaccination. And they are researching and putting together these letters. But with the legislative authority, that is our indemnification for proceeding. We are subject to Ontario legislation and the direction of the Ministry of Education. So we've been very, very careful in Blue Water to do exactly what we were asked and not more than we were asked. So if you've received some of these letters, we do have the legislative authority right now, but I know that they're written very strongly. So thank you, Madam Chair, for letting me pop back in.
No, thank you. That was really valuable information for us. I'm assuming Superintendent Cummings would be. Next.
Thank you, Chair Thompson. Yeah, just an update on transportation. We've had a lot of calls this year, but not unlike last year. So if I could take you back to last year, the exact same week, the exact same evening, the report is almost a carbon copy, except we have improved. Our driver shortage is really only 7 of 325 routes, whereas last year our shortage was 8. So we have a net gain of 1. That being said, it's still a very frustrating period of time for students trying to get on a bus and for families trying to get their students to school. With the shortage, we're looking at cancellations to date of about 103, so that's an average of about 10 a day, with other drivers being off for sickness or other needs. And of course, some of our operators are impacted a little bit more than others, of course. The operators are advertising for drivers, and they are looking at incentives to entice people into the industry. Some of the larger companies, they do the training and the evaluation to get their drivers on the road as soon as possible. So that is in full force, and they're trying to recruit as best they can right now. Perhaps in a couple weeks to a month's time, we'll see that number reduced back down to where it should. In the meantime, over the past week, we did some ridership counts, trying to look at what our loads were on the buses, and we're running probably just a little bit over 50% on our buses. So there's a bit of capacity there that we're going to look at. Our route planner started on Monday morning, looking at the 7 main routes that aren't being picked up by a driver right now, and looking at how to optimize those routes into existing routes. And it's not an easy job, but certainly something that they are skilled in doing in going forward. So this is exactly what we did last year in order to make do until more drivers arrive into the system. If you recall last year, we quoted about a $200,000 annual cost savings when bus drivers aren't driving due to a driver shortage. So we would be looking at that same type of thing this year. It doesn't really help us because the main goal right now is to get our families some help here and get their kids on buses to get to school. So we have made some strides to help out. The call rate, or the number of calls coming in, has been reduced significantly this week. And yeah, it is frustrating, but I believe the planners did a great job. There's 3 of them and the supervisor working all out, trying to get people on buses and get those calls answered. I don't really have much more on transportation unless there's some questions or comments at this time.
Trustees have any questions or comments? Trustee Johnstone.
Yes, thank you. I know this might also have to do with Superintendent Tang, but it had to do with vaccinations of bus drivers. So do they also have to be vaccinated and show proof of vaccination? And is that part of a problem to do with recruiting bus drivers?
Through the chair, that is not the challenge yet. So the bus drivers are new into this right now, and yes, they have to be vaccinated or tested positive to have the test taken. And that's only just beginning, I think, by the end of this week.
Okay, supplementary.
Go ahead.
So thank you. So do they have to also show proof that they're vaccinated? It's just that I was hearing some interesting things in my area. I had no idea if it was true, right? So that's why I'm asking these questions. Is do the bus drivers have to be vaccinated? Do they have to prove that? Do their employers have to ensure that bus drivers who are driving are vaccinated? And if they're not, for whatever, if for medical reasons, are they ensuring the safety of students? Yes,
through the chair, and they are to report back to the board as part of our reporting back to the ministry.
Okay. Okay.
I think if I could just clarify for a moment, no one has to be vaccinated.
Okay.
This is a vaccination attestation policy, so you are required to attest as to your vaccination status. If you're fully vaccinated, it's fine. If you're not fully vaccinated, and that could be medical or it could be another reason, then you have to have the rapid testing twice a week. And you have to watch the educational video. And this policy does apply to bus drivers, and it applies to anyone who may be in the presence of staff and students of a school board.
Okay. Thank you.
Including trustees. Is there any other questions or comments?
Just briefly, briefly, Chair Thompson. We have experienced some enrollment growth this year, better than what we had budgeted. We do plan on bringing a complete report to you on the preliminary enrollment at our October 5th Business Committee meeting. That's all I have.
Thank you. I think that's the end of our...
Yes.
So if there's any other questions, ask now. Otherwise, we'll move along. So it was moved by Trustee Dawson, seconded by Trustee McComb, that the Blue Water District School Board receive the school update report for information. All in favor? Thank you, that's carried. This has been a jam-packed meeting. Communications. The following correspondence has been received and has been provided to each of you, but just as a refresher, on August 18th, there was a letter from the Minister of Education regarding the revised policy program memorandum number 151, professional activity days devoted to provincial education priorities. August 18th, a letter from the Minister of Education regarding COVID immunization disclosure policy and testing requirements. August 9th, a letter from the Minister of Education regarding Ontario Teachers, College of Teachers governance modernization. And August 3rd, a letter from the Minister of Education regarding COVID, health, safety, and operational guidance for schools for the 2021-22 school year. Any communications and announcements from student trustees, staff, OPSPA? Anybody have anything they'd like to share? Trustee Johnstone?
Yeah, there's a board of directors meeting on September 25th, and of course it'll be by Zoom. So, and also there was a program, I believe you were the alternate for policy, right? Correct?
Correct.
Chair Thompson. There was also a program meeting that was happening simultaneously, and then you had a joint meeting. And even though I was not in attendance, I was elected as the vice chair.
Oh. That'll teach you.
I know. I told them I wasn't running for chair, so I just kind of, yeah. So that was interesting. Anyway, I thank them.
Any other announcements? Or that takes us to the director trustee conferences, conventions, out of district meetings. I guess the OPSPA is one of those in a way. Trustee Johnstone? You're on mute, Jen.
So now you have no video. I forgot to put my hand down.
Okay, no worries. Anybody else? I see none. Our trustee calendar of events is nice and long as we're at the beginning of our school year, but I already feel like it's going to move quickly along for us. Which brings us to the end of our meeting. So I'm looking for a mover and a seconder that the Blue Water District School Board adjourn at 9:01 p.m. Trustee Dawson and Trustee McComb. All in favor? Good night, everyone. Safe home.
Good night.
Good night.
Safe home. We're all home.
I know.
Thanks, Chair Thompson.
See you tomorrow night.
Yes.
Thanks.